We have a light agenda this evening. We have just the minutes from past meetings and then some transfer requests. Bob, I'll let you take us through the minutes.
Okay, making a note here when we opened. This batch of minutes, I think, to the best of my knowledge, brings us up to date, up to the annual town meeting.
Okay.
First one is back on July 6th. Where we approved the minutes of a couple of prior meetings, went through. Oh, man, excuse me, I think I got out of order here. No, and then we went through the warrant articles that we had not handled or discussed at length in the prior meeting. I guess we must have come up with some questions because we didn't actually then go ahead and approve them, any of the articles, and then we adjourned at 8:02. So I'll make a motion to accept those if meets everyone's pleasure.
I'll second the motion. I'll second the motion. Joe, you intend to abstain from the minutes because you were not at any of the meetings?
Well, I would abstain to do that, but if we need my vote to approve them,
we don't.
then I won't abstain.
Okay. I don't think we need, okay, all in favor? Aye.
All right.
Okay,
And-
thank you.
And I abstain.
You abstain.
Okay. Then we met the next night at 6:30. And we generally just discussed and then voted on Article 15, which we voted by majority to disapprove, or to recommend disapproval, actually. Then we adjourned at 8:15. So I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second that. Okay, all in favor?
All
Aye.
right,
And what, I abstain.
Abstention, thank you.
okay. Then we met on July 9th. Isn't there a,
What about July 8th?
yeah, I'm trying to find it here. I think I maybe misplaced it.
Okay, there's 2 July 8ths according to what you sent me.
Could be.
Yeah, you said that you had a meeting at 6:33 and then you had a second meeting called to order at 7:14. They're both dated July 8th.
Must have made a mistake.
Okay,
Let's forget July 8th. We'll pick it up next time.
okay,
Because I don't have it here, and obviously there's a discrepancy between what it says.
okay.
Then we met on, oh, wait a minute. Can you guys hang on? Let me go. I've got to have some other stuff because I don't have the other minutes from, oh, and there we go. Here we go. Ah. Yeah, those. Yeah, I don't have the data. Actually, I think one of those July 8th is July 15th.
Okay,
All right. And that would be, yeah, July 8th, we can go ahead on. The one that says July 8th at 7:14,
mm-hmm.
all right?
Yeah.
That did occur. The bad date is on another one. No. Yeah. And we talked about the consent agenda. We discussed a final go-round on our annual report. And then we had a motion to adjourn at 7:18. I'll make a motion to approve that.
And I'll second it. Any discussion? No, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone-
I abstain.
Okay. Bob, if you know the date of the other meeting, we could
Yeah,
just,
it was July 15th.
all right, let's
You
make
can
them,
amend that.
go ahead and amend it to that. No.
All right, I'll amend it to July 15th, and all we did was discuss how the meeting was going to be handled, and then we adjourned at 6:57. Make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Oh, and then there's July 25th.
Is there a July 9th?
Didn't we? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's where we got hung up, started.
Okay,
July 9th was when we went through the rest of the articles for town meeting and voted to approve Article 26, disapprove Article 25 and 14. Rescinded our earlier approval of Article 27 and then voted to disapprove it. We finalized our annual report and adjourned at 7:42.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept those.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
abstain.
Thank you.
And then the final one is at the annual town meeting on July 25th. Everybody was there. No business came before and we adjourned. And I must say, I didn't put down the exact time we did, so I just put down approximately 10:45.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to accept those.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Abstain.
And is that it, Bob?
That's it.
Okay, great. The main agenda item tonight is the approval of a number of transfer requests. I want to take these, I think, kind of in reverse order of the way they were presented. The first two really go together, and there are the two on the public safety complex. Jeremy is here to answer any questions that we may have, and I'll tell you what I heard from Chris. One is for $2,390 for for replacing the system that softens water, and the other is a $4,200 request for for
Ultraviolet light.
ultraviolet lights. Yeah. What Chris told me was this: is that they wound up in a situation at the town hall and elsewhere where they had an E. coli infestation, and they basically had 4 weeks of hits of E. coli when they were testing the well. Jeremy, is that correct? It was a long period of time.
Yes, it was a long period of time where we kept getting hits from the raw coming in and then inside the building. So that's why we're looking at that UV system.
Yeah, Chris said that the operator of the system told them to put chlorine in the well. What he didn't tell them was that that'll take care of the E. coli, but it's very bad for the water softener. As a matter of fact, it kills the water softener. And that they should have told them to try to bypass the water softener system and to put any chlorine in. So at any rate, the chlorine treatment was the system was such that the whole thing would have worked if it had been a home system, but not on a commercial system. On a commercial system just didn't work. So that among other things, and the whole system was compromised for water softening. So what they have to do is, and have done, is put in an ultraviolet lighting system. Jeremy, maybe you can tell us where that goes. Chris didn't really.
Yep, so right as the well water comes into the building on the raw side of it, that they would call it, it'd be right inside there. So it actually would go before the softener system. And then from the softener system, the water would go into our 2 storage tanks that are in the public safety building. So immediately as it enters the building, it would pass through the UV system. So it wouldn't have a chance of contaminating anything else in the building once it's gotten to that source.
But are the UV lights in some kind of enclosed structure that the water flows through?
It is, yes. And that would be right above the water softener system. That's in the main boiler room inside of the safety complex.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions?
Just curious, Jeremy, are we still getting an E. coli count in the well?
We have not at this time. We've only had really 2 samples, the monthly samples, since that time that we've been off of the boil order. So it is something that we've had repeatedly where we've had a total coliform bacteria hit. But the last one was the worst that we've ever had.
Okay.
Put us on a boil order for over a month.
All right, any other questions?
Nope.
If not, then I'll take a motion for the $4,200 for the ultraviolet light system.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second,
Any further discussion?
Do I need to say specifically
No,
motion for 4,200 or just make the motion?
I've said that before, so.
Okay.
Okay. And so I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And then the second one is the $2,390 system for the bacteria treatment. So I'll take a motion to approve that.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much. The next thing I want to look at is there are 2 requests for library repairs. The first one we'll take is there's an amount of $14,664 to replace the primary and secondary door hardware. The story I have on this, and Jeremy, pay attention if you can correct me here when I'm wrong, is that really it's this is not a lock and a latch. This is a complete hardware system.
It is. Yeah, this is the front entrance, crash bars, vertical rod assemblies.
Yeah.
On four doors as it goes in.
What Chris said was that the system that's in there apparently is a much cheaper system, which is not, it's only at the very cheapest end of stuff that's designed for commercial use and is not at all adequate for what we need in the library. The new one is more expensive, but should last a lot longer, and in fact is a really heavier grade of hardware all around. And I understand that it's really a kind of a delicate situation that you sort of really can't let this thing go on very long. Is that correct?
It is correct. I've actually had 2 different locksmith companies come out to do work on them. They've had varying difficulties to try to get them to actually latch properly. Of course, going on right now, we have this whole pandemic where we're trying to keep people isolated in the library, not allowing to have people come through the primary door, go into the secondary. And we've had people actually be able to pop the doors open,
Wow.
which is a concern.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, they get through the first door, they think the second one will be open, and they, with force, will pop it open. So both of the locksmith companies have done the best they can work. I get called back repeatedly to do work on them. Again, yeah, they're a Hager, they're a lower bottom of the commercial grade. So it's definitely something that I would urge to get done as soon as possible for the safety of the building and the safety of the staff members that are in the building, especially with the pandemic going on right now.
Does anybody have any other questions? If not, then I'll take a motion to approve the $14,664 for the hardware for the door for the library.
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor? Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the second item for the library is a replacement of a failed boiler. This is an $8,460 item. The story I have from this is that this boiler is a German-made boiler for which parts are no longer available. And the company that came and looked at it went and found another boiler by the same manufacturer, but a newer model, and one for which they claim will have parts available. But it is a brand. It's not the same boiler used. It's a brand new boiler by the same company, and the other one, apparently this company had in fact worked on it for the last 3 years, and it's now just they cannot get parts to fix it anymore. So that, in a nutshell, was what I heard. Jeremy, anything to add to that?
No, that would be about it. Just that we also were limited, of course, to the size of the space because it had to pair with the existing boiler that would be next to it. Because they run in tandem. It takes two to do the building. So that's another explanation why we had to go with that specific one that we did at the time.
Is the other one that's in there, is that like the one that just failed?
It is. We're going to have problems down the line trying to find parts for it, I'm sure, but currently in good operating condition.
Has is the other one going to be taken? Is the current one that's gone bad? Is that going to be taken away? Can we keep that for parts, or?
We actually will take apart a few parts on it. There's not a lot to it because the main burn chamber and the heat exchanger is gone. The new system actually runs off of between Johnson Controls and a new control module that's in it. The new one actually comes with a more efficient system in it. So that will operate both of the boilers that are there, the pre-existing one and the new one.
Okay, thank you.
So
Any, Bob, Joe, any other questions?
yeah. Is the new one the same make and model as the one that failed?
no, it's not exactly the same because, of course, every few years they change over, and that one being already over 7 years old, the old one. It's pretty much the same style, but it is an upgraded model. Again, it's got a little bit of different system on there for the computer controls. It's also a propane fired unit and can work in tandem with the other. They had to do a little bit of reconfiguration for the water setup that's on there, as far as for the output that's on there. The problem again is limited space that's in there. It's about 3 foot tall by 2.5 wide by about 3 long. So it's kind of a difficult thing to get a new one in there without changing both of them completely. So that's why we had to stick with a similar type of model.
Yeah.
It's not the exact same model.
So was the problem created by a design error or just a failure of the boiler itself?
Oh, there was a failure of the boiler. Yeah, during routine checks, we do a daily check of the boiler rooms. And during that check, Stephen, one of our employees, actually discovered that the floor was wet. And as we went in there, we found that the heat exchanger was cracked and leaking. So we shut down the gas line, the water supply, and the electronics to it, and immediately had the company come out and service it. They were there within about 2 hours, actually, from the time we called them. And we were able to go in there with a scope and the camera and actually see what was going on in there without having to take it all apart. Then once it was determined that that was leaking, they did go further just to make sure to see if they could remove the burn chambers that's in there and the heat exchanger and get spare parts. And that's when they started the call with the reps to see what was warranted, if there was any warranty, which is expired. There's only a 5-year commercial warranty on that, which has passed. And then again, parts from Germany and wasn't available. In fact, the new boilers that we got, the one had to actually get all the way from Maryland as well, just because of the availability. We're also running into a problem right now, of course, you gentlemen all know, because of the pandemic with the COVID, it's getting very tough to get anything that's manufactured right now.
Okay, I do have just a question or observation. Since I'm on the housing authority, you know, we had an issue with a German boiler because they put all these German boilers in the multi-family units, and there's only one company in the state that could even service it. So every time we have to get something, plus parts were almost impossible to get. And I mean, we have to pay $2,500 a visit just for them to show up from the eastern part of the state. And this is the one company that can handle that. And so my question is, why are we doing a German company? If the issue is also, I mean, I'm not going to say that maybe there's no issue on parts on the new German made boiler. I don't have a problem against the Germans. I know they manufacture great products, and I've done business there for a dozen years and traveled there. But my question is, you know, based on my own experience in the housing authority, we're replacing a German boiler that we couldn't get parts for with a German boiler that we have to get from Maryland. And so aren't we going to have a parts problem going down the road again? Is there not, if we're going to make this investment, is there not an alternative, or is it just that we're sort of stuck here?
Well, at the point that this was leaking to actually get the building up and running, I would say we're kind of stuck with that, and also the design. If you're not familiar with the room, the boiler room in there, the two Vidaris boilers that are there, including the new one now, actually only have about 6 inches in between the two of those boilers, about a foot between that and the chiller that does for the air conditioning, and then about another foot on the right side from the window. So taking the footprint that's there and what's available in that actual room to be able to do this, looking at either American Standard or a couple other, and I know you don't want German, but like a Lockenbar, something like that, we really wouldn't have the footprint to do a change at this time. I think going forward, we wanted to look at that. We'd probably have to bring in more of an engineer to look at not only the plumbing part of it and electrical and controls, but also we might have to actually extend part of that room because we don't have room to really kind of maneuver things around. I know in a former position I had at a different company, it was same type of thing. We had to do a lot. We had Rise Engineering come in, and it's not kind of a quick fix, but I agree with you. We have to look at what the availability for parts are and go from there. We've currently had that with a couple other places where even Modine, which is in the United States, we're having problems finding parts on something that's over 7 years old.
Right. Well, just to make the point on the German boiler, I mean, this was pre-COVID that we had this problem. I mean, this isn't just something that popped up during COVID. So I just wanted to mention that because because we've had a problem and it's cost us a lot of money, and we're looking at switching out boilers just so that we can get parts and we can get service, you know. So anyway, okay, I'm done, John.
Okay. Bob, any other questions?
Nope.
All right, then I'll take a motion on the replacement of the boiler, $8,460.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. And then the last one is on the exhaust removal system on 2 vehicles for the fire department. Here's what, and this is $13,982.50. And it has been done already. Bob noted that there is a negative amount in the account, and the reason is that they had to go ahead and do this.
Okay.
What happened was a few years ago, Chris thought maybe 5 or 6, there was a complaint by an employee who, after visiting a doctor, said that the doctor had diagnosed him as being as reacting unfavorably to exhaust fumes. He was having bad reactions to exhaust fumes, and it turned out that that was because, unlike some other fire department buildings, when this one was built, they did not have an exhaust system to put into it. And by exhaust system, it's like when you take your car to a repair shop and they have to work on it inside. They usually put a hose onto your rear tailpipe and then run that hose outside or through an exhaust capture system, whatever is appropriate for them. But that was not part of the specs for the original fire building. Or if it was discarded in the construction process. Chris wasn't absolutely certain about that, but at any rate, it's not there. And so this was in fact the health hazard. When additional vehicles are purchased, they have to put one of these exhaust capture systems on the vehicles. And this is for when the vehicles are warming up before they go out. Because by law, you're not allowed to take one off of an old vehicle and put it on a new vehicle. Because every time you buy another vehicle, it has to have it on it. And these did not. It's not part of the specs. I asked why they weren't part of the specs before the vehicles were purchased, and was told that that had been a decision by past fire chief, and he's no longer available for questions to ask about that. And that there is theoretically a question of whether or not we could retrofit the entire building. And Chris supposed it could be done. It would undoubtedly cost a lot. So they're not even looking at that. They were not even looking at that right now. They just went ahead and got the exhaust system, the capture system put on the new vehicles to take care of the health hazard. So Jeremy, can you add anything to that?
No, well, I mean, I'm not part of the fire department, but being part of the maintenance department, I know Chris and I have talked before about the retrofit for the building, and cost-wise, I mean, it would be too much with the size of the drops that would have to be done from the ceiling area down and then tying into a central area for the recovery system. That would be a major undergoing. So obviously, at this time, it would be much more cost-effective to just continue to do them on the vehicles as we get them. Unfortunately, there must have been an oversight or, something taken out from those other vehicles. So I would definitely recommend that would be done at this time too, for the safety of the people in the building.
How many more vehicles do we need to install now? Are all the vehicles covered now, or do we have other vehicles that will need this exhaust removal system?
I believe it's only the ones that are in front of you right now to get reimbursed or to move the funds for. And then going forward, any vehicle that is purchased, they would for that to be done on it as part of the purchase price.
That was my understanding too, that these were vehicles which were recently purchased. Vehicles that we already own have already been retrofitted.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have any more vehicles in the pipeline?
I don't know if they have any more at the moment that they're looking at purchasing. I know that was the large engine and the rescue vehicle, I believe.
I don't recall authorizing anything. Do we recall anything authorized the last time meeting?
Not the last one, but there's a long lead time on all the fire vehicles, so
Yeah,
it could be something that was done a year ago or a year and a half ago that's just about ready to be delivered now.
Mhm.
I mean, that doesn't change the fact we need them on these vehicles, but it's just to be aware of that if there's another one coming in that's been purchased in the recent past, it's gonna have the same need to get a system put on it.
yeah, if we purchased it and everything. Are people now aware of this, Jeremy? Do you think that for future vehicles?
I believe they are. I'd have to speak to the acting chief to make sure.
Yeah,
And if not, then they're gonna have to actually look at whatever's ordered now and see if it can be added or adjust costs for that. So.
Any idea what brought this to the forefront?
I think because once they actually received the vehicles in, I don't believe that some of the people were involved with the original part of the purchasing with that and the speccing it out. I think it had to do with the former chief initiating all this. And again, it, as you said already, Bob, it takes so long for it to come in from the time that it's specced out and they start to build and then delivery, that I think unfortunately maybe some of the other officers just missed that the steps that it hadn't originally been purchased.
Chris had told me that there was an actual health complaint by an employee 5-6 years ago that got them thinking, started on this.
No, I think maybe what was running through my head was there another complaint? Because if it's the two vehicles didn't arrive at the same moment in time. So obviously one would have been here and creating problems. And did somebody bring that up at that moment in time? And we just sort of maybe delayed a little and.
Yeah, see, I can't speak to that at all. I don't know.
I don't know the history of that either. I didn't ask that. So I don't know the history of that.
The other thing too, Bob, with that sometimes, with the vehicles, other than initial startups during a day for testing, what they'll usually do is they start them up and bring them right outside. So that so somebody might have missed that as well. And then depending on the type of call, you might not have the rescue vehicle going all the time, which I believe was the one that came in first. But we have a lot more use for the engine that came in. I mean, I see that on at least 2-3 times a week rolling out of there. So.
That may very well be all we have on the pipeline anyways, because we had the rescue vehicle we approved, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. And then I think there's only been one more, which would have been the engine. I mean, it was a major purchase. So there's only been 2 major purchases, I think. So hopefully we won't have to have another transfer to cover another vehicle.
Okay, Bob or Joe, you have any other questions?
Nope, I'm all set.
Nope.
If not, then I'll take a motion to approve this.
So moved. Oh, go ahead, I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? If not, then all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It passes. Jeremy, I want to thank you very much for attending the meeting. We really appreciate you coming and telling us about the.
Well, I want to thank you all, gentlemen, for letting me attend and putting my 2 cents in there. And I thank you for all your work.
If we have any further business?
It's more like you're 40,000, Jeremy. No. Anyway.
I'll smile, Joe.
Yeah, well, hey, we got to laugh, man. I mean, we're in COVID-19, a little bit of humor.
We need it.
Bob, I think what happened was, I think that was it was the 2-for-1 fire vehicle deal that we got. No, I'm just kidding. Buy one, get one free.
Special.
But Joe, you got the biggest smile, so I'll ask you to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, thank you. See you when we have another meeting. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.